TGIF from the KUOW newsroom. This is Seattle Now. I'm Paige Browning with a roundup of today's top stories. It's Friday, July 24th. Federal investigators are working to recover the sunken Kenmore Air seaplane that crashed yesterday at around 5:15 p.m. in the San Juans. Casey Martin has the latest.
The National Transportation Safety Board says they plan to pull the plane up today to examine it. The agency says after the seaplane made an emergency landing Thursday near Susha Island, it caught fire and sank. All 11 people on board survived. Kenmore Air says a weather system in the area caused the pilot to adjust the flight path. 3 passengers are still in the hospital. One person who was in critical condition is now satisfactory, a spokesperson for Harborview Medical Center says. The NTSB says it'll look at all kinds of information to find out what went wrong, including weather conditions, plane maintenance, and the pilot's health records. Investigators say they'll release an initial report within a month, but a probable cause likely won't be public for 1 to 2 years. Casey Martin, KUOW News.
In other local stories to be aware of, Turning Point USA CEO Erica Kirk is making a stop at Kirkland's Pursuit Northwest Church tonight as part of her national tour. Kirk took over as CEO after her husband, Charlie Kirk, was shot and killed at Utah Valley University last year. Expect protests in Kirkland tonight. Capitol Hill Pride March and Rally is hosting a Love Over Hate protest outside of the event. Another protest from Indivisible East Side was canceled. The organizers said on social media, "We've come to realize that the most effective method of dealing with this event is to ignore it." That's all turning heads. And so is this next story. Publicola reports a new report found that men who buy sex are unlikely to reoffend if they're arrested for it. That's the upshot from a study by the King County Department of Public Defense. Of 81 men charged with sexual exploitation in the last 3 years in King County, only 1 has reoffended. The Public Defender's Office suggests that's reason to keep sex buying as a misdemeanor, but Publicola reports the county prosecutor's office has pushed to make it a felony. Moving on to the environment beat, drought and wildfires are dominating local concerns this weekend. The most concerning wildfire, the Kaiser Canyon fire burning in north central Washington, has now burnt approximately 90,000 acres. Some level 3 or go now evacuation orders are still in place there. All of this is worsened by drought. On that front, a draft water supply forecast predicts that in the future, the Columbia Basin will have less water available in the summer and early fall. NWPB's Courtney Flatt explains.
Every 5 years, Washington's Department of Ecology must forecast changes in water needs and supplies, and what that could mean for people and wildlife. By looking 20 years ahead, they hope to help communities plan for long-term water needs. Sasha McLarty is a professor at Washington State University. She led the research team. She says there are things that can be done to help groundwater, like having some people use surface water instead. But
without those actions, groundwater levels are on the whole going down across eastern Washington.
The forecast also predicts multi-year droughts could get worse as the climate continues to change. Public comments on the draft can be submitted through the end of the month. I'm Courtney Flatt.
A man who's been posting videos of himself capturing and sometimes wrestling protected 6-gill and 7-gill sharks in Puget Sound is facing possible jail time.
Come over here now, police!
That was the sound of State Fish and Wildlife Police recently confronting the man who they say they caught in the act. They say they've spent months investigating complaints about his videos, which show the sharks being pulled from the water by their tails or held by the nose. Officers say that's especially concerning when it comes to pregnant sharks.
Once they exhaust themselves being fought to shore, then all of their babies die. And then sooner than you know it, we're not going to have 6-gill and 7-gill returning to the Puget Sound anymore.
6- and 7-gill sharks are listed as species of greatest conservation need in Washington state. The man faces charges on 10 counts. In entertainment news, SIFF Cinema downtown is reportedly having some technical difficulties showing Christopher Nolan's new blockbuster adaptation of The Odyssey. The Seattle Times reports that 4 out of 12 showings so far have had issues leading to interruptions, and in some cases, switching the screening to digital projection instead of the higher fidelity 70mm. SIFF said in a statement to the Times they're working to resolve the problem, but that future screenings of The Odyssey may be impacted. SIFF will give affected moviegoers a voucher for a future movie, but usually doesn't allow those for 70mm films. In sports, it's All-Star Weekend for the WNBA, and the Seattle Storm have 3 active players, plus a legend from the past competing. Tonight, Natisha Heidemann reps the Storm in the three-point competition, and Flau'jae Johnson and former player Lauren Jackson will play together in a shooting competition. Jackson's one of just 2 players to have her number retired by the Storm, and Johnson, who's in her first year, is excited to say the least.
To team up with her, that's like legendary, you know what I mean? Like she set the ground that we kind of walking on, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to do my best to go out there and represent her and represent the Storm to the best of my ability.
Tomorrow, the Storm's Dominique Malonga plays in the All-Star game, and the Storm return to their regular season on Tuesday in Seattle. If you're still looking for something to do this weekend, here's a highlight reel of what's happening. The big focus in our region this weekend is art. It's the Seattle Art Fair, where day passes are $50, the Bellevue Art Fair, which is expected to draw an impressive 150,000 spectators, according to the Seattle Times, and then Assembly Art Fair operating in counter to those 2 annual shows. Bite of Seattle, a huge food festival, started today at Seattle Center. And for Jimothy's many, many fans, something for you too. Council member Alexis Mercedes Rink will commemorate the Ballard raccoon in an event on Sunday, and there will also be a Jimothy art competition there at Bergen Place Park. Next week on Seattle Now, thousands of non-citizens who are in Washington legally will lose their AppleCare coverage in October. We'll talk to one of the public health employees helping people figure out their options.
We need to help them. When you develop that relationship with the client and help them understand, we're only here to help you. We want you to keep the coverage. Those are the conversations that we have to have with our clients.
Hear that Monday morning. That's all for today from the KUOW newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Vaughn Jones, and I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. Catch you later.